issue new Social Security Agency or SASSA cards, as they're called. Well, today the Constitutional Court heard an application by Black Sash, which is seeking the reinstatement of the court's oversight role regarding the payment of those social grants to millions of South Africans. In 2012, government contracted Cash Paymaster Services, or CPS, to pay billions in those grants and pensions on behalf of SASSA. That contract was later declared unlawful by the Constitutional Court. The court has, however, allowed for the contract to be extended several times to ensure that beneficiaries get paid. The latest effective extension ends in September this year, when SASSA itself is meant to take over the payment process with the help of the South African Post Office. All right, so it's quite complicated to discuss. We're joined by Hoodah Abrahams-Fayker from the Black Sash in Cape Town. Thank you for being with us, Ms. Abrahams-Fayker. What is CPS doing, firstly, to hamper this handover process to the Post Office?
Well, there are a few challenges with CPS. They're only administering cash payments. And what they've done is, in terms of the payments where they had the SASSA card, the old SASSA card currently, is where beneficiaries access their payments through ATMs or retailers, they are now charging beneficiaries an account maintenance fee. So that is the first thing, that beneficiaries are getting the short end of the stick. They are also taking advantage of the transition process and encouraging beneficiaries to change their cards to and open an Easy Pay Everywhere card, which is an account that Grindrod manages, and it would fall then under a commercial bank account. And they are saying that their fees are less than the SASSA card currently, and that is why beneficiaries should open that card. So they are also creating confusion within the space of the transition, whereby they are trying to attract the attention of beneficiaries to change to the Easy Pay Everywhere cards. And Black Sash has a concern with that, because through this process we've seen unlawful deductions taking place. Their confidential data is compromised, and there are no recourse mechanisms when they have this Easy Pay Everywhere card.
Okay, so you would prefer that they get a card from the Post Office rather than Grindrod Bank. You say that's more beneficial for the beneficiaries.
Yes, definitely. With the transition to the Post Office card or the SASSA SAPO card, the grant will be ring-fed, so beneficiaries will receive the full cash value of the grant, where there are no deductions will be allowed for debit orders or stop orders.
This sounds a little bit nasty on the side of CPS. Suddenly there's new charges. They're trying to get people to go over to a bank where debit orders can take place. I've heard other claims that they are stopping post office officials from coming into CPS outlets in rural areas. Is it getting nasty? And what is the motivation of CPS to try and hamper this handover process?
Well, I think the concern is that ultimately by the end of September, it would be envisaged that CPS would no longer be in the grant payment space and administer social grants in any way. They already have a limitation currently that they are only administering cash payments. And going forward, they were going to tender for the bid for the cash payment tenders, but that has now been cancelled by SASSA and the Minister of Social Development. So what is envisaged going forward by SASSA is to reduce the cash payments, and ultimately that won't be used as a payment method in future going forward.
All right, so they're looking for ways to still benefit after September. You want the Constitutional Court to supervise again. What do you expect their response will be?
Well, I think at the moment there is a supervisory role, and it's in the public domain, because SASSA has to make monthly reports to the court. There is also recommendations that the Auditor General and the panel of experts make to the court. And so that would hopefully, encourage SASSA to make sure that everything is ready by the end of September.
Do you think that there will be a smooth handover? I mean, South Africans have been waiting for a very long time for this whole issue to be resolved and for Cash Paymaster Services to move away from handing out these social grants. Do you think it will happen by September?
Well, I think we are monitoring the process because there have been shifting timeframes as to what SASSA says they're going to do and what is actually being done. There are concerns in terms of the rollout of ensuring that beneficiaries receive the new SAPO card. They've announced that to date they have issued about 1 million cards, and that is short of what they had envisaged, that it should have been over 2 million currently by the end of June. So there are concerns whether everything will be in place. Also in regard to the cash payments, reducing the number of pay points, and making sure that in rural areas that beneficiaries will be able to access their grant where there is limited resources and no infrastructure in terms of the national payment system.
All right, so the Black Sash continuing to monitor that process. Thank you very much, Hoodah Abrahams-Fayker from the Black Sash in Cape Town. And it's time for your sporting action.